Wife takes revenge after man fakes his own death, leaving family behind before returning home. Ryan Borgwardt from Wisconsin, US stands accused of faking his own death and fleeing his home. Ryan Borgwardt from Wisconsin, US stands accused of faking his own death and fleeing his home and life after he turned himself into the police on Wednesday the 11th of December. According to reports, Green Lake County Sheriff Mark Pardall said he had left his life to start anew for around 4 months before he returned on his own. I wonder what it was that made him decide to want to leave and fake his own death and start a new life, but also what made him feel like, yeah, I gotta turn myself into the police. Like, was it guilt? Was it shame? What was the motivation here? Borgwardt was handed a misdemeanor charge of obstruction, which he pleaded not guilty to. Investigators confirmed that the 45-year-old had disappeared during a fishing trip to Green Lake in August, where he left his kayak and phone in the lake before taking a child's boat to shore, where he had stashed an e-bike to get away. Police shared details that he had revealed to them. He had cycled overnight to Madison, Wisconsin before hopping on a bus to Detroit, Michigan, and then boarded a plane to Canada. Jesus Christ. I obviously don't know my way around the US, but that sounds really excessive, really dramatic, and really spendy as well for the most part. Like, he cycled overnight, okay, that's fine, that's not going to cost anything. Then he hopped on a bus to Michigan, and then boarded a plane to Canada. Like, this guy must really, really hate his life. Jesus Christ. From there, he travelled to an unknown location for the months he was missing. Initially, authorities believed that he had drowned and spent 1 month searching for his body, which cost the city approximately $35,000, which in the UK is £27,500. The Associated Press AP news agency stated it was then on Wednesday that he appeared in court to share that he believed he was not guilty of the charges, of course not, and stated that he would represent himself as he could not afford a lawyer. Again, why do criminals feel the need to represent themselves? I mentioned this in one of my other videos, the Lori Value video. Like, why do people feel the need to represent themselves? Fair enough, you can't afford a lawyer, that's understandable. But at least you could get a lawyer represented to you. I can perfectly understand why you would not want, a lawyer picked out for you, because you don't know everything about this lawyer. You don't know if they're credible or not, and you don't know if they're going to be any good. But at the same time, representing yourself is just never a good idea. During the times I've been watching criminal trials, once or twice has a defendant represented themselves and actually managed to do a really good job while doing so. It didn't change anything, but for the most part, they represented themselves well and came off quite intelligent and quite smart and quite normal, I guess, for the most part as well. But yeah, that's my personal feelings on the matter. Obviously, if this guy wants to represent himself, he's obviously allowed to do so. It's his right. But I personally don't understand why criminals feel the need to want to represent themselves. Half the time, anyway. To this, the judge said that he would receive state representation at the next appearance. The husband spent his time away from their family, which includes his few children. His loved ones were left picking up the pieces of his death. Shared that before Borgwardt's disappearance, he had transferred money to a foreign bank account and had also been speaking to a woman in Uzbekistan? I apologize if I got it wrong, but that's quite a big word, especially for a foreign word as well. Don't know where he went, even though there is evidence to suggest that he used his passport. They did confirm that on December 10th he arrived on US soil. So was he secretly planning to have an affair with this woman? The one from Uzbekistan, whatever it's called. Or was it something else in mind here? After paying a £390 bond with the promise to appear for a future court date, he was allowed to leave. His wife, who had shared a home and life with him for 22 years, was not about to let this ordeal slide, and as soon as the court appearance was over, she swiftly got her own back and filed for divorce. Good on her! Absolutely good on her. To shit and just take off without any sort of explanation and fake his own death as well, leaving your family to grieve you, well, apparent, and then finding out you're actually still alive, you've just been doing God knows what, then yeah, you deserve whatever comes your way from doing so. That's my personal opinion, but court documents state that she claimed that the marriage was broken and is filing to arrange sole custody of their children. According to Sheriff Podol, Borgwardt began speaking with the police 3 months after going missing, where police were pulling at his heartstrings to bring him home for Christmas. In his news conference, Sheriff Podol suggested that Borgwardt may be required to pay the city back for their search for his body. Police stated that when Borgwardt went missing on August 12th, they searched the lake for 54 days, but when he communicated with them in November, the truth came out. According to officials, the father of 3 contacted a Russian-speaking woman to connect him to the police. He then sent the police a 24-second video of himself that showed him in an apartment with white walls where he confirmed, "I'm safe, secure, no problem." While communicating, he allegedly told the authorities of his escape, which he conducted because of personal matters. His next court appearance is scheduled to be January 13th. Happy New Year to him. The guy just did not file for a divorce in the first place, or just agree to his wife that they should be separated and go their own separate ways. Probably would have been a lot harder than just like, in his mind, going off and disappearing to God knows where and doing God knows what. But at the same time, you can't just leave your family hanging like that. You need to be responsible for your family. You need to look after your family. And this guy is showing that he's not capable of that responsibility. So we know he's got a court appearance on January 13th. That's as far as we know. Nothing else has been said whether or not he'll be getting a trial or anything like that. If he does, then I'll be very interested in watching that trial through Law and Crime or either Court TV on YouTube. And I'll be very interested to see how well he does in terms of representing himself and getting more of a full-blown story as to why he decided to leave his family and fake his own death and then come back and turn himself in. Lots of interesting questions here. But with that being said, let me know your thoughts. I've heard of this story recently. Like maybe it's been on local news, wherever you are in the world. Maybe you've seen it on YouTube. Whatever it may be. Let me know your thoughts down below in terms of how you feel about this guy and what you think his reasonings are for wanting to leave his family and start a new life, in a sense. So with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye for now.